Hello and welcome to Instablogs Global Report. This is Sukhmani with fresh updates and more citizen voices from all over the world. Stories for the day are: in a move to contain contraband activities, Mexico sacks and replaces more than 700 custom officers. BJP molds the core issue of Hindutva at its meet in Shimla. Jordanian basketball team qualifies for the World Basketball Championships. And Eastern Africa's largest remaining montane forest block faces extension. More than 700 custom officers at airports and land crossings have been replaced in Mexico in an unannounced crackdown on corrupt agents who allow drugs and weapons to flow across the Mexican borders. A CJ from Mexico sees the change as part of a response to new demands in the fight against contraband.
Reforma newspaper had reported earlier that the contracts of 1,100 agents were allowed to expire on Saturday as part of a plan to modernize the customs services. A new force of 1,470 agents is being sworn in to replace the former workers. Soldiers took control of at least one border crossing at Ciudad Juárez across from Texas to assist with the transition. Pedro Canabal, a spokesman for the Tax Administration Service, said the agency had decided not to rehire the officers when their contracts expired. They were replaced by agents who had undergone months of training and background checks to ensure they had no criminal record. This change is part of a response to new demands in the fight against contraband. Some of the former customs workers will be permitted to reapply for their jobs in the new service, but details on the alleged criminal ties of many former employees are being turned over to federal prosecutors.
In a dilemma over usage of Hindutva as the core issue, BJP's top leadership is discussing the importance of ideology for the party on the second day of the three-day brainstorming introspective deliberations currently underway in Shimla. CJ Pankaj Goswami from India says that BJP should adopt a moderate stand on the issue if it is ever to win over political allies and young voters in the country.
This is Pankaj Goswami, student journalist reporting from India on Instablogs. After shining bright for nearly a decade and a half on national political stage, the question of leadership and Hindutva is once again haunting the party. Rise of secular parties and malfunctioning Hindutva card has slided the party into a dilemma. Some factions are favoring a softer and diluted version of hardline Hindutva in order to expand its vote bank. The moderate faction is right in its approach if the BJP wants to retrieve lost ground and ensure its survival by appealing to the young. It must remember that pursuing a hardline Hindu fundamentalist ideology, it can never reach out to the political allies of the young voters who are reluctant to go to the BJP because of its radical Hindutva issue. The expulsion of BJP veteran Jaswant Singh for favoring Jinnah on partition proves that it is still tied to the past and reluctant to look ahead.
For the first time ever, Jordanian basketball team has qualified for the World Championships after defeating three-time World Championship qualifier Lebanon. The team's victory has placed it in third position with Iran and China on first and second respectively. CJ Wad Abu Zuraiq applauds the Jordanian win.
This is Wad Abu Zuraiq reporting for the Instablogs from Jordan. For the first time ever, the Jordanian basketball team is qualified for the World Championship. The Jordanian team was qualified after winning the game played against the Lebanese team, which happens to be a 3-time World Championship qualifier. The Jordanian team's victory on Sunday placed it in the third place, while first place went to Iran and the second went to China. Jordan's Portuguese coach Mario Palma said that the team will not just take part in the championship, but will actually work hard to leave a fingerprint in it. Whether Jordan wins anything in the championship or not, the mere fact of them being in the game is considered a good first step, which needs to be built on at later stages for further victories.
The largest remaining montane forest block in Eastern Africa, called the Mau Forest Complex, is now facing extinction, with experts warning that the destruction of this forest will cause an environmental disaster in Kenya, resulting in a reduction in rainfall, wiping out farms and drying up rivers and lakes. CJ Rose Wangiwe has more on the story from Kenya.
This is Rose Wangui, a citizen journalist from Kenya, reporting on Instablogs. The Mau system of forests is the biggest of Kenya's 5 water sources. It is the source of 12 rivers which sustain 5 lakes. Already, the rivers and the lakes are drying up. The one-time destruction of the forest is as a result of human settlement which started in 1996 when more than 60,000 hectares of forest cover was destroyed and turned to farmland. A recent report reveals how grievous the situation is and calls on the government to give alternative land to the settlers. The whole nation is now facing a disaster even as politicians turn the issue into a gold mine to blackmail each other. The ongoing fallout between Prime Minister Raila Odinga and a section of ODM members of parliament over the matter depicts the lack of political will by our leaders to solve the issue amicably. This is an important issue which will affect the country's future generations in a big way, and the impact is not far from being reality.
If you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your choice. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That's all for today's show. We'll be back with fresh updates and more citizen voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.